You're watching Debate Night in America. We're just a few hours away from history unfolding right here on CNN. Tonight's unprecedented showdown between Joe Biden and Donald Trump is the first time a current and a former president have ever debated, and the first time two candidates have ever faced off before officially accepting their party's nominations. With a stubbornly close election, it could be a make-or-break moment for both men. Welcome to our viewers here in the United States and around the world. I'm Wolf Blitzer in Atlanta.
And I'm Caitlin Collins from the CNN Spin Room just outside the debate hall, where these two candidates are going to go head-to-head tonight. President Biden has just touched down here in Georgia, and we are expecting former President Trump to arrive here in the Peach State shortly. The stakes tonight, of course, could not be higher for both candidates after months of polling showing the race in a relative dead heat. Their performances tonight could alter the course of that race and maybe even American history. This is Debate Night in America.
Let's get straight to the final preparations inside both campaigns for tonight's high-stakes debate. Our senior White House correspondent, MJ Lee, is joining us right now. She's got details on President Biden's plans for tonight. MJ, I understand the president has just landed here in Atlanta where we are. What do we know about his final preparations?
Well, Wolf, after the last week of intense debate preparations, these final hours heading into tonight have really felt like the calm before the storm for President Biden. We know that he spent the morning at Camp David with only several of his advisors. They didn't do any mock debates. And the reporters that finally saw him after a week of not seeing him in the last few hours as he has made his way here to Atlanta, he didn't say anything to them. And I asked a Biden advisor what the general mood was like on Air Force One as the team made its way to Atlanta. And this advisor said, feeling good. We are ready to go. But of course, as we know very well, that sort of buoyant message of optimism really doesn't capture the incredible Herculean task that now lies ahead for President Biden. They have done their run-throughs. They have refined their message, their attack lines, the vision that he wants to present. He has prepared for every version of Donald Trump, we were told, that could come up tonight on the debate stage, but the preparations really end there. It is now entirely on President Biden to try to execute on everything that he and his team have prepared for and practiced over the last week. And we are just getting images of the president making a pit stop before heading here to the CNN studios. He was greeted by supporters. They were cheering. He was shaking hands with them. Clearly, it seems like he wanted to get in a good headspace, get a good boost of energy. And one advisor said that Biden's state of mind over the last week heading up to tonight can be summarized by two words, and those two words, Wolf, are focused and determined.
MJ Lee reporting for us. MJ, thank you very much. Now to CNN's Kristen Holmes. She's been working her sources inside the Trump campaign. Kristen, Trump is due to land here in Atlanta in the next hour or so. How has he been spending his final hours preparing?
Well, that's right, Wolf. I just talked to senior advisors. He is wheels up on his way to Atlanta, Georgia for this debate. He is accompanied by some of his closest senior advisors. That includes his campaign managers, Chris LaCivita and Susie Wiles, as well as Jason Miller. Now, Miller has been a close ally of Donald Trump's for roughly the last 8 years, and he is running point on this debate preparation. Of course, if you ask Donald Trump's advisors, there is no debate preparation. However, Miller has been in charge of arranging and sitting in on these various policy sessions. As we have reported, they have ranged from anything from how to answer questions on abortion and democracy to how to pivot to the economy and immigration, as well as inflation. Now, they are expected to land here, as you noted, around 5:30. I have talked to people close to Donald Trump who say that he is in a good, confident mindset. As MJ said, it's really up to Donald Trump. and Joe Biden of who shows up here today and how that performance lands. Now, various allies who have spoken to him say that Donald Trump knows the gravity of the situation tonight, that he knows what is on the table and that he will remain focused. But if you talk to those who are close to them, they also acknowledge that you never know what version of Donald Trump you are going to get. They have been watching carefully what is coming out of Camp David, how Biden himself has been preparing, and they have been preparing in reaction to that. Again, they say that he is ready, that he is confident in tonight, and that he's going to stay on message. However, again, you never know which version of Donald Trump is going to show up here and whether or not President Joe Biden is able to get under his skin.
Kristen Holmes reporting from the CNN Spin Room here in Atlanta. Kristen, thank you very much. Right now, we want to bring you a behind-the-scenes look at the stage where the two candidates are set to debate, just 5 hours or so from now. CNN's Boris Sanchez is joining us from inside the debate hall. Boris, walk us through how tonight will go.
Wolf, the floors have been swept, the lighting has been tweaked, and the microphones have been laid out. The stage is set for a historic night. A sitting president taking on a former president head-to-head right here on CNN at 9 p.m. at hallway. And then Donald Trump will walk out through here and they'll approach these podiums, which are exactly 8 feet apart. Let's talk about the actual rules while they're here at the podium. They cannot sit, they cannot bring notes, and they cannot confer with campaign officials when we're in a commercial break. They're only allowed to have 3 things up here. That is pens, and we'll take a close look at them, the pens, the paper, and a glass of water, and maybe a towel as well in case they start sweating. The most important component, the most important thing on this podium, other than this microphone, is this set of lights right here. Remember the rules, Wolf. A candidate's microphone will be muted once their allotted time to speak is up. This will be green when the microphone is on. It'll turn red once their time is expired. Let's give you a view now of where the moderators are going to be sitting. This is what the candidates are going to be seeing tonight. You're going to have Dana Bash and Jake Tapper moderating this debate and asking questions of the candidates. How exactly is it going to work? They will ask one candidate an overarching question. The candidate will then have 2 minutes to respond. His opponent will have 1 minute for a rebuttal, and then the original candidate will have another minute to respond to the rebuttal. Aside from that, the two moderators are going to have the opportunity to ask a follow question, and then the candidates will have a minute to respond to that follow. How are they going to be able to tell time given all those cues? There is a light, a colored light on top of the cameras where the candidates are going to be facing. When they have 15 seconds left in their response, this is going to turn yellow. When they have 5 seconds, it'll start flashing red. And then when their time is expired, it'll be a steady red light on top of the camera. So they will know, and it'll be every camera in the studio. So they'll know exactly when their time to talk is up. Now, one question that has been lingering over this debate is about the muting of the microphones. You have to remember, these podiums are only 8 feet apart. So even if a candidate's microphone is muted, we at home may not be able to distinguish exactly what they're saying, but there's no question that the other candidate standing only a few feet away is going to be able to hear them, and potentially that may lead to interruptions. It may lead to responses to something that we haven't heard from the other candidate. It'll be potentially tricky, it'll be intense, and it'll be right here on CNN at 9 p.m., Wolf.
And all of these rules for the debate tonight have been approved by both candidates. Boris Sanchez, thanks very, very much. Just ahead, our details from our team of reporters on what's happening right now behind the scenes and the final hours before tonight's face-off. And Caitlin Collins is joined by an all-star panel wargaming the mission for both sides. Stay right here.
The CNN presidential debate, tonight at 9, live on CNN and streaming on Max.